First, let's pay homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the yidam of today's Dharma teaching, the medicine Tathagata of the eastern realm of Lapis Lazuli, the Supreme Medicine Bodhisattva, Medicine King Bodhisattva, the Sunlight All Radiance Bodhisattva, and the Moonlight All Radiance Bodhisattva, and homage to the 12 Medicine Generals. Homage to Medicine Tathagatas, all members of his retinue. Sumu, Danchen Katso, Tuten Siddhi, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples, and all disciples. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Aisteru, Sarange,
Hola amigo.
Hola amigo.
Te quiero mucho.
Te quiero mucho.
Sugoi.
Sugoi.
Ichiban.
Kimochi. Kimochi.
Jumi.
Jumi.
Yapi.
Yapi.
Bling bling.
Bling bling.
Konbanwa. 大家晚安。各地的
Konbanwa. Good evening, everyone. Because it's different time everywhere, so there's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So, at the beginning, let me share a joke first. One day, Xiaoming So black tea, green tea, and jasmine tea, all put it into a glass bottle, and then he rode a motorcycle, and he got stopped and inspected by police. And the police asked, "What's the liquid inside the bottle?" And he took down his face mask, and he said, "It's 10 flavor tea." But in Chinese, it's a play of words which also sound like dead policeman. Actually, because his tea is called like the 10 flavor tea. It's a combination of many many tea.
再有一个笑话是这样子。
And another joke.
有一位20岁的辣妹。
There's a 20-year-old hot girl driving and also got stopped.
立刻主动问交通检查。
And immediately she asked the police officer,
酒精消毒算不算酒驾？
oh, so if I use the alcohol,
用酒精
because I was injured, I use alcohol to disinfect myself. Is that drunk driving?
这个不是不算酒驾的。
And the police officer replied confidently, no.
需要帮忙吗？
Which part of you is injured? Do you need help? And the hot girl replied, my heart was injured, so I use alcohol to disinfect myself.
这个不算冤枉啊。 然后第三个笑话是这样子。
And the third joke.
一位男士去办手机的申请。
A man was applying for a cell phone.
两种证件。柜台小姐一
And he took 2 ID
名男
and look at it.
叫做高姓高名赛，叫做高赛。
His name is Gao Sai. It's also play of word of
瞄了那个
Chinese.
男士一眼，
So she
不好意思
glanced at
低
him
下头。
and he was
这时候
embarrassed
这个小姐立刻
and
缓
looked
和
down
了彼此的尴尬。
and she's just trying
我
to
先生呢跟你
to be
同
kind, and
但
she
不
said,
姓
uh,
我先生姓贾。
my husband has the same name but different family name, so his name is Jia Sai.
那就是贾。
In Chinese, it's like eating shit.
一个高赛，一个是假赛啊，大家笑笑，开心。
Just laughing.
我们今天呢是进行你问我答。
So today we will continue with the question and answer.
请问师尊，
Dear
什么
Master,
是熟地智慧？
what is the wisdom of the mundane truth,
地智慧
and what is the wisdom of the ultimate truth?
这个我们密教里面有分成
In Tantrayana,
升起次第。
Tantrayana is divided into the development stage and the perfection stage.
这样子讲，
So we can say
娑婆世界
that in samsara or the saha
是
world,
熟地，
it's divided into the mundane or the worldly
那么也讲了，
and
也就是说，四十地属于娑婆世界的人间，
the mundane or the worldly belongs to the sentient beings or human world,
就叫
and
熟地。
the
我
ultimate
们通常这样子
ground
分的，
is the inner
什么叫熟
wisdom
地的
or
智
light.
慧呢？
So what is the wisdom of the mundane
人间的
truth?
智慧？
Is the wisdom of the human
比
world.
如我们从
For example,
kindergarten
from kindergarten
一直到了 university，
all the way to the university,
再来就是那个master，
and then master's
然后大
degree, and then doctorate.
那么 这个过程啊，从 kindergarten
This
到了 high school，
process or journey from kindergarten to high school to university to master's degree to
读书的
doctorate,
过程，都属于
the study
属地智慧。
is the wisdom of the mundane truth.
那么，什么叫真谛的智慧呢？
And what is the wisdom of the ultimate truth?
就是阿罗汉。
That's
圆觉
arhatship,
另外
pratyekshravakahood,
这个菩提萨埵跟布拉，
pratyeka Buddhahood, bodhisattvahood, and Buddhahood.
从阿罗汉
So from arhats
独
to solitary hearers
然后到菩萨、到佛，
and bodhisattva, and then to Buddha. The wisdom for this attainments is called the wisdom of the ultimate
属
truth.
地智慧是从 kindergarten 到 doctor， 真谛智
So
慧
the
是
wisdom
从阿罗汉
of the mundane truth is from kindergarten to doctorate, and the wisdom of the ultimate truth
这
is
个
from
智慧到
arhat
布拉，
to the
这个
Buddhahood.
智慧就叫真谛智慧。
So that's called the wisdom of the
什么
ultimate
叫做
truth.
入世？入世就是入世的智慧。什么叫做出世的
So
智慧？
the
所
wisdom,
谓
the
入世
worldly
的智慧
wisdom and the
就
out of
是
worldly
属
wisdom.
地智慧，
So the
什么叫做
worldly
出
wisdom is
世
the
的智
wisdom
慧？
of the mundane
就是
truth,
真谛智
and
慧。
the out of worldly or the enlightenment truth is the
这
wisdom
是
of
解
the
决第一
ultimate
个问
truth.
题。
That's for the first question.
请问师尊，
Grand
供法
Master,
的几个问题，
I have several questions about smoke offerings.
可以用灌顶、烟供跟沐浴
Recently, Grandmaster taught us that we can employ empowerment, smoke offering,
这个烟
and
供
purifying bath to eliminate obstacles to our Dhamma practice.
还是
Is the smoke offering to be addressed to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas or to the karmic creditors?
我告诉你，这个问题问得很好。
This is
有
a
人
very
以
good
为修
question.
烟供是供佛菩萨，有人以为修烟供是供冤亲债。
Some people thought smoke offering is for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and some people thought it's to the karmic creditors.
他是有提到，
I remember my guru said about the smoke
就如
offering.
同这个香的供养，譬如我们
Smoke
放香
offering is like an offering of incense.
你香呢，
Or
可以
when we
供
lit
佛菩萨
incense, we can offer the incense to the
也一
Buddhas
样
and
可以祭拜
Bodhisattvas.
祖先呢。
And the incense can also use to worship the ancestors.
香料
So if you use high
高贵
quality
像龙眼香
ingredients
很多的香集合起来，
like the Longyan incense that uses very precious
是可以供
ingredients, and you lit it in the smoke offering that can be offered to the Buddhas and
但是你
Bodhisattvas.
只要供冤亲债主的，就
And
是说你本身
if
有
you
障碍
want to,
你要
if you
消除
have
这些障碍，
obstacles or hindrances and you want to eliminate them, you want to offer to your karmic creditors, you don't offer it in your altar, but you have to move to your balconies or
你能够有室外，
or
你就在
deck
室外
outdoors.
修烟供法。那没有室
So
外，
if you have
在阳
access
台上
to the outdoors, then you should do the smoke offering outdoors. If not, you
那
can
么
do
也
it on
可
the
以这样
deck.
子讲，烟供可以供佛菩萨以上等的香料，
So the smoke offering can be offered to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas using the highest quality ingredients. If you use ordinary ingredients, it can be offered to the karmic creditors. And in the smoke offering incense, it includes clothes, food, things to live, and transportation. They all melted into it. And then you visualize it to become things that we use, eat, that we live in, and that we transport. So smoke offering can be used for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as well as to the karmic creditors. In the main practice of the smoke offering, do we chant Om Ah Hum and Rang Yang Kang one after another 21 times? So Om Ah Hum. Om is the universe. The expansive Dharma realm is in Om. And Ah, it becomes one. From the Dharma realm, it transforms into one. And Hum, according to my guru, the character or syllable Hum represents all sentient beings. So all sentient beings are Hum syllable. Master Thupten Torji told me. So Hum came from the Dharma realm, from Om to Ah to Hum. Om is great, Ah is medium, Hum is small. Dharma realm, Yidam, and sentient beings. So Om Ah Hum. There are many meanings to Om Ah Hum. This is just one of them. Dharma realm, Yidam, and sentient beings. That's Om Ah Hum. And what are the Rang, Yang, and Kang? Rang is the fire. Yang is the wind. And Kang, it's emptiness. Rang, Yang, Kang. The fire rises. The wind blows. And it becomes the empty space. That's transformation. Fire, wind, and space. According to the procedure that you should follow the procedure. If it asks you to chant Om Hum Rang Yang Kang together, then you should follow. If it is taught that way in the procedure, then you follow it. Or do we chant them separately? We chant Om Ah Hum 21 times first, and then visualize the offerings to fill the cosmic space, and then chant Lang Yang Kang 21 times, and visualize the offerings to become smoke to offer to our attached spirits. So the second question is, should we chant them together or separately? I think we can chant Om Ah Hum 21 times first, and visualize the offerings fill the cosmic space, and then chant Rang Yang Kang 21 times and visualize all the offerings to transform into smoke. That's my opinion. You chant Om Ahom 21 times first, visualize the offerings to fill the cosmic space, and then chant Rang Yang Kang 21 times and visualize the offerings to become smoke. Because it has meanings. Rang Yang Kang, the fire, the wind that transform into the smoke. And Om Ahom, you can fill the whole cosmic space. Dharma realm, Yidam, and sentient beings. So transform all the offerings to be like ocean of clouds. That's the meaning. So the second one should be the correct way. The next question, Grandmaster Amitabha.
能自由出元神的条件和方法是什么？
What are the qualifications and methods to soul travel on one's free will?
能出元神的条件跟方法是什么？这个告诉你啊。
Let me tell you. First,
先把自己的顶窍打开。
You should open the hole at your apex or tip of your crown. That's the first requirement. You should have your apex open in order for you, for your soul to leave your body. You know, sometimes you think that you have leave your body because my soul goes to very far away places. Actually, that's not the case. Your soul is inside your body. It's just traveling around in your body, and you just thought that you are doing soul travel. It's impossible. You have to open your apex first. That's the first requirement for soul travel. Otherwise, your soul is just moving, and maybe it moves to your eye, and you think that you go to the ocean, and you go to the ear, and you think that you are in the zoo, that you see an elephant, and your soul travels to your mouth, and you see lots of little fish, lots of things. And your soul just travels to your nose, and you think that you climb the mountain. Actually, your soul was just inside your body moving about. And it goes to the secret chakra, and you think that you have gone to hell. So the first requirement is to do your Dharma practice, the Powa practice, which is the opening of the apex. That's the first requirement. And second, when your soul leaves your body, and when your qi push your soul out of the body, there would be a thread that follows your soul, that a silver color thread. So if you want to come home, come back, then this thread is the one that gets you back. However, by accident, if this thread is cut off or broken, then you cannot come back. And then what will happen? No big deal. That the next morning, your family will find you dead. Stop breathing. What was that called? The modern term. It's like game over. So it's very dangerous to soul travel. So typically we say, if you don't cultivate spiritually before your soul is in union with your yidam, please don't let your soul leave your body. You can only do the soul travel if your soul can be in union with your root guru, yidam, and protector, because then you would be protected. Only if you're protected by your root guru, yidam, and protector, you can do the soul travel. Otherwise, you would feel really tired. You wouldn't be able to get out of bed the next morning. If that thread is broken, then you would definitely gone. You're game over. Or sudden death. That's what I was going to say. Like sudden death. So if your soul leaves the body, but you are not accompanied by root guru, yidam, and protector, and your soul encounters the powerful king of ghosts, and you would be caught and you would be enslaved as a ghost slave. So after you open your apex, you visualize the yidam is standing on top of your apex. Typically his feet or her feet is at covering your hole, so you don't leave your body easily. So that's extremely dangerous. I cannot tell you how to do the soul travel. Otherwise, the disciples would do it whatever they want, whenever they like. Then some would die, some would get hurt, and Grandmaster has to do bardo deliverance for you, here and there. There's a man in the nightclub meeting a beautiful lady, and they had a very nice chat. And the man wants to court this lady. And said, I like to service beautiful lady. Whatever your request, I will fulfill it for you tonight. And this beautiful lady took a key and asked, are you sure? And the man said, guaranteed you to be satisfied. And she said, she gave him the key and said, please clean my house. So what I
不要
meant,
想占人家的便宜。
please don't take advantage of other people.
出元神不是好玩的。
It's not
告诉
a
你哦，你如果
play
出元神
game to do soul travel. If your soul leaves your
你就
body and
永
you're
远去
caught
打扫他的房间。
by the powerful king of ghosts, then you will always be
就
his
变成
maid,
鬼奴。
cleaning up his
方
room.
法也不能告诉你，
You'd become the ghost
方法也
slave.
不能告诉你。
I cannot tell you
我
how
们
to do it.
最后的出元神是到佛国净土，是
And
最重要的，
our last soul travel would be to the Pure Land
并不是一件很好玩的事。
and to the Buddha Land. It's not a funny thing. It's not for fun.
师尊在《密教奥义书》提到，
Grandmaster, in your
看
book,
见明
The
点
Tantric
光
Buddhism Profound
再继
Meaning,
续修
was
习，
talking about
就会
after
跟
you
现
see the light
多状的麻
of the emptiness of the light drops,
刚念。
you continue to practice.
我知道
And
明
then
点
what
光
will appear next is the Vajra chain
和光
that's like the chains of poles at the tails of a horse. So I know
已久，
that
但一直无法在定
the
中
light drops is like a drop of light,
点
and then the
是否有
accumulation of the light drops is the Vajra chain.
或是在
My
梦
question is,
所见
if after practicing for a long time,
也是
I still have no ways to see the light of the light drops, is there any other ways to see it or to prove it
其实
in the
看见明
dreams
点空光
or any other
就是看见
comparison?
波叶光
So seeing
波叶光
the
把它
light
串联
of the emptiness of the light drops is like seeing the prajna light. And then if you chain together the prajna lights, that would become Vajra chain.
就是金刚
And then when you combine all the Vajra chain to become a screen, that would be a Vajra screen.
看到本
And inside the Vajra screen, you would be able
看
to
到
see a
本尊
yidam,
出现在金刚链
a yidam, a deity
甚至
appearing
可以看
in
到
the screen,
本
in the
尊
Vajra
的
screen.
坛城
And you would be able to see the yidam's mandala or altar
这是一个
and the
串
yidam inside the Vajra screen.
明点光
So it's a chain here.
金
The
刚
light drops light,
本
Vajra
尊
chain,
坛城
Vajra screen, yidam,
出
mandala.
现的出
This
现
is the
这个次第
step by
出
step
现的次第
appearance.
啊，非常重要的。
This is very
这个
important.
我就是在到了达兰萨拉，印度的达兰萨拉，
When I went to Dharamsala in India, in my meeting with Dalai Lama,
就是
we
明点
discussed
光
the light of the light drops, the Vajra chain, the Vajra
跟
screen,
本尊坛城
yidam, and a mandala.
两个人在谈的这个问题。
This is the topic that Dalai Lama and I
提出来的问
discussed.
题
And the question that you ask
跟达赖喇嘛所讲的问题，
the,
如何
is
看
what
到明点
Dalai Lama and I discuss.
因为你到现
If
在还没
you
有
see
看到明点
the light of the light drops, but you have not seen it yet.
我告诉你，
Let me tell you,
你如果着火修成就了，
if you have attainment in your inner fire practice, because the inner fire or tumo
你如果
is
着火修成就了
light.
着火一直往上升到
If you have succeeded in your inner
这
fire
里有菩
practice
提心业，
and it's ignited and rises all the
也
way
就是明
to the
点
crown, and here there's body chakra, which is the
心轮
source of light drops.
心轮明点，
And then the throat chakra light drops, heart chakra light drops, navel chakra light drops, secret chakra light drops.
你跟明点的光结合，就是着火的光。
And when the light drops rises and the light of the light drops touches the light drops, the light of the inner fire touches the light drops to melt the light drops, and when the light drops and inner fire merges together, you can generate light.
如何能见到明点空光？
So how
就是着
do you see the light of the
碰触到
lucid
明点
clarity light of the light drops is to rise the inner fire,
水火相
to make it rises, to touch the light drops, to melt the light drops, and to merge the inner fire and the light drops. Then you would be able to see
闭着眼睛也看得见啊。
the lucid light of the light drops, and you would be able to see it with your eyes closed or open,
或者是你在禅定中你看得见，
or you see it in your meditation,
或者你在梦中看见。
or you see it in your dreams.
你只要着火升起来，
As long as your inner fire has been ignited
明点
and you have melted the light drops, and when the light drops and inner fire
就
merge,
告诉你这
then you would be able to see the lights of the light drops. That's the pith teaching of this. 小明在超市排队的时候，因为你是 When Xiaoming was lining up at the grocery, a woman farted in front of
小
him,
明啊，心烦意乱，
and he got really
他
upset.
来不及讲什么之前，
Before he said
那位女士
anything,
转过身
that
来
woman turned around
如
and
果你
told
听到
him, if you heard
那个屁，
if you heard it,
那么就证明你没有保持社
that
交的
meant you didn't maintain your social distancing.
如果你闻到了，
If you smelled
那
it,
表示你的口罩根本没有用。
that meant that your face mask is not qualified, it's
这个
not
女
good
士
enough.
对他这样子讲，
So that's what the
这个女
woman
士
said.
也是很聪明的，
So that woman was very smart.
听到了。她
So when Xiaoming heard it,
的声音
heard her fart,
距离太近了，
that
距离那个
meant
女士太
that
近。
the distance was too close.
那么你闻到了，
And if you smelled the fart,
表示呢，
that meant
哦，他戴的口罩是不标准的。照理说，戴
that
口
the
罩
face mask
到那个味道，
that he wore was not good enough.
所以这个就是在疫情当中的一个，说疫情当中，因为大家都
So
戴口
that's
罩
the situation in the pandemic. Everybody's wearing face masks, right?
味道你
So you would not be able
都戴口罩。
to smell it,
现在我们这
and we are maintaining social distancing.
李阳他戴着口罩，炳祥他戴着口罩，
And here Li Yang
是呢
is wearing face
他
mask,
也戴着口罩。
Dexter is wearing face mask, Master Lian Wang
在这里
is wearing face mask. So if I fart here,
听不到，
nobody can hear,
也闻不到。
and nobody can smell it.
这个刚好是讲这个。你要看到明点空光啊，
So if you want to see
有条件
the
的
lucid light of the light drop, there's several requirements. It's not that you want to see it and then you see
修
it.
行者
You have to ignite your inner fire first, and to melt your light drops, and then to assimilate the two. And then when you close your eyes, then there would be many drops, many lights appearing. There are red ones, blue ones, white ones, all combined together forming a Vajra screen. Sometimes it's round. They're very fine and very dense. And then the Yidam will appear right in front of you. Wouldn't that be marvelous? So you have to be able to smell it. You want to hear it. You want to take down your face mask. And you need to be really close. So that's the theory. Okay? Now I taught you already. The next question, homage to the lineage of Guru Holiness Buddha Lien Sung. I would like to ask, I have practiced Vajrasattva for 1 year, and on the New Year's Day, I dreamt of Vajrasattva radiating light to bless me and my home. So now, can I practice the Root Guru Yoga, or should I continue the Vajrasattva practice? So the fact that you were able to dream of Vajrasattva radiating light to bless you and your home, that's congratulations. Excellent. So whether to practice Root Guru Yoga or Vajrasattva, let me tell you, for Grandmaster, that Padma Kumara is Vajrasattva. I have told you, Adharma Buddha is the first Vajradhara, or Vajra holder, and the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are the second Vajra holder. If they are individually, there will be the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th Vajra holders. And Vajrasattva would be the 7th Vajra holder. And Grandmaster is the 8th Vajra holder. So how do you practice? Now, you can practice Root Guru. You can practice the union of your Root Guru and Vajrasattva, because the Root Guru can merge into Vajrasattva, and Vajrasattva can merge into the Root Guru. And you can do the practice together, which is the Root Guru deity and Vajrasattva combined when you do your practice. The key here is you first visualize Vajrasattva sitting on top of your head. You visualize your Root Guru entering into Vajrasattva. And then Vajrasattva enters into your heart, which is the Root Guru and Vajrasattva's union enters into your heart. And you chant the 2 mantras, Grandmaster's mantra, which is the Root Guru mantra, and Vajrasattva's mantra. You chant them both. That's the combined practice. You enter into Vajrasattva. When you become Vajrasattva, the Root Guru is there too. They're all inside your heart. So you are the Root Guru and you are also Vajrasattva. So this is the deity yoga for Root Guru and Vajrasattva combined. On the first day in school, Xiaoming cried in class, and the teacher asked him, Xiaoming, why did you cry? And Xiaoming replied, I don't like it here. But from now on, I have to come here every day until I'm 12. And the teacher said, I'm even worse than you. I have to come here every day until I'm 60. So we want to congratulate this Dharma, this fellow disciple, that Vajrasara appeared in your dream to bless you and your home. That's extremely marvelous. And you practice the Rudguru deity yoga and Vajrasattva combined. Then you can graduate from this school. You can graduate from this school. Then you would gain spiritual union. Because in your dreams Dharma realm, you already gain spiritual response. And that in the human world you can also gain spiritual response. And eventually you will gain spiritual response in the Dharma realm too, and you will definitely be able to graduate and have attainments. You know, spiritual cultivation sometimes takes a long time. Some rather short. But actually we have to cultivate spiritually till old age. Till at the end that your Buddha nature merge into the Buddha ocean, that the child light assimilate with the mother's light, and when they are in union, you would have the fruition or attainments or the Buddhahood. This is the last question. For my question is for a newly or for a disciple that just took refuge, can they, after someone is taking refuge, can they practice the 4 preliminary practice and the Rudguru deity yoga right away, or do they have to receive their empowerments, the empowerment for each of them, for the preliminary practice and the for Rudguru deity yoga? This is asked by someone from Melbourne in Australia. We have a temple there, Yen Ming, and in Sydney we have a Yen San temple. They're both in Australia, and we have many chapters there too. Like in Perth we have the Yen Si chapter and many other chapters. So the question, when we just entered the door and took refuge, Grandmaster would allow you to practice the 4 preliminary practices or the 6 preliminary practices. And what are they? You never heard of it before. That includes the Rudguru deity yoga, the protector deity yoga, and the 4 preliminary practice. So that becomes the 6 preliminary practices. So you started with the 4 preliminary practices. That's the fundamentals. In some Buddhist sects, they confer the refuge initiation, but they require empowerment for the great prostration, for the great offering, for the fourfold refuge, and then for the Vajrasattva repentance practice. You know why they They want so many empowerments because then they can receive more red pockets. But for Grandmaster, as soon as you receive the refuge initiation empowerment, you can perform all the 4 preliminary practices, and then you need another empowerment for the root guru deity yoga and for the protector deity yoga. That would be better. I never set a price for any empowerments. If it had been in Tibetan Tantrayana in Tibet, they set a price for it. Or any other masters, any other gurus, they have set prices. And they have their reasonings too, because they regard the Dharma as extremely precious. If you don't show it with money, how can I give you the Dharma? Because the Dharma is priceless. Each Dharma is extremely expensive. That shows that you're respecting the Dharma. So they have their own reasonings, but Grandmaster is more empathetic toward my disciples because they are not rich. And in order for the Tantric Buddha Dharma to reach widely, everything is voluntary. So by receiving just the refuge, just by receiving the empowerment for the refuge initiation, you can do the 4 preliminary practices. But then for the rest you need empowerments for the root guru, protector, for the practice of the channels, light drops and inner fire, the inner practices, the highest yoga tantra and the great perfection. They all you have to receive empowerments. So you have to go step by step, but everything is voluntary. Now it's 50 minutes already for the question and answer. Now we'll talk about the 2 action paths of Lamdre. They include the 5 paths and the 37 body divisions. So what's written here is similar to the sutra. First is the merit accumulation path, and then preliminary path, and then seeing the path, and then practicing the path. And lastly is the path of leaving the worldly paths, which is the ultimate path. So this is also step by step. It's a gradual levels. First you take refuge, fourfold refuge, and then the root guru deity yoga, and then the protector deity yoga, and then the yidam deity yoga, and then the inner tantric practices, highest yoga tantra, the heruka practices, the great perfection practices, responses, spiritual responses for all these practices. So merit accumulation path is very simple. You do good to prepare all your merits because you are embarking on the journey. So for the first, the merit accumulation path is never do any evils, always do good. And then the preliminary path is the very beginning of the tantric practices. And then seeing the path, what is that? After you practice the preliminary paths for a long time, then you gain enlightenment. That's seeing the path. And after you gain enlightenment, you started the real practice. That's practicing the path. And after that, it's the path of out of worldly path or leaving the mundane path. So to have the attainments of arhatships, pratika Buddhahood, Bodhisattvahood, and Buddhahood.
那么先教是如书地之道，分二趣行轨，依教门。
And this is the instruction on the two action paths, which are divided into two paths of interest, the 5 paths according to the Dharma Gate teaching, and the paths like the 37 body divisions. So the two action paths are the 5 paths and the 37 body divisions. These two paths are assimilated into one interest because the body divisions also belong to the paramita vehicle of the 5 paths. So that's the cultivation path, the same as spiritual cultivation path. Because the two can be combined, they are all spiritual cultivation. So in the body divisions, the paramita vehicle is one of the 5 paths. So the 5 paths and the 37 body divisions are both spiritual cultivations. And they belong to the paramita vehicle of the 5 paths. So we can say that it is actually just one. So 2 is the same as 1. There's no different. It is a different stage. That's all. A woman spoke to another woman. The words of between women. Are you still striving or seeking eternity? What is eternal love? At the end, even how are you still looking for eternity? What is eternal? Nothing is eternal. That when you're old, that even your period will leave you. Moreover, man, basically man. In this world, the only thing that is eternal is one thing. Is when you are in union with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That your Buddha nature is assimilated with the Buddha ocean, then only that is eternal. So about romantic love, or never fantasize that it will be eternal. That's just all in the comics. Those are just fantasy. Manga in Japanese is like comics. Nothing is eternal in the human world or under the heavens. It's 2025 2020. It's a play of Chinese words. I love you, I love you, love you, love you, I love you forever. When you're old, you're just accustomed to each other. You live together. A couple don't get divorced or don't separate. It's not because it's eternal love, but it's just a custom. I am accustomed to you and you are accustomed to me. Seriously speaking, saying about like that I love you forever even when the ocean dry up and heaven falls down. Love, that's a joke, but love does exist. But I cannot say a little bit, I cannot say a lot. I cannot say it's forever. Just for the moment. It's just in the moment. But romantic love does exist. I've seen lots of romances when they get married, even against the approval of both families, and they eloped, both the man and woman, and then now they're divorced. So when you eloped, romantic love did exist, right? Because you really fell in love, that's why you eloped. Happy to die. You're so happy that you eloped, and then afterwards divorced. But when they were eloping, of course there was love. But when they got divorced, was there love? No. The only thing that can last forever is when we're in the heavenly realms. Last Sunday, I decided to clean up the house. I took my mops and brooms and getting ready to clean. And all of a sudden, I thought about what the sixth patriarch Hui Neng said. That originally there was nothing. So how could there dust? So because of that, I just took a shower and get in bed. So she was applying a Buddha Dharma into cleaning up the house. You know, the Dharma of the Hui Neng, the sixth patriarch of Zen Buddhism, is the sudden enlightenment. Immediately you recognize the Buddha nature, and after you recognize it, you appear it, you make it appear and confirm it. That's the sudden enlightenment Dharma of the sixth patriarch Hui Neng. But the seventh patriarch, which actually doesn't exist. Well, I was talking about the great master Sen Xiu. We could say he's also one of the guru in Zen Buddhism, and he practiced the gradual enlightenment Dharma. And what was that? Which is step-by-step cultivation. It's not direct pointing to the Buddha nature. So for the Master Sun Xiu is you always have to clean up your whole body. You purify your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, and all over your body. Gradually, you practice the eyes, ear, nose, tongue, mouth, body, and mind gradually purify, and until eventually, ultimately, the Buddha nature appears. So he is considered the North Zen Buddhism, and Huineng is the South Zen Buddhism. So Sun Xiu in the north is gradual enlightenment Dharma, and Huineng in the south is the sudden enlightenment Dharma. Both are Buddha Dharma. So if you cannot be like those with great spiritual root to appear your Buddha nature suddenly or immediately, then you should practice your purification practices the best you can. Now you understand. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.